Good morning, everyone. Good morning. See everybody jumping in there. Appreciate you being on. I saw Eric. Oh, there's Ollie. I saw Eric from Puerto Rico. Tiffany, good morning. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Appreciate you being on. As always, again, just some real quick instructions for folks that might be a little new to Periscope. If you want to share this, then swipe up or swipe right, and then obviously follow the instructions from there. And then again, if you hear something you like, then if you just tap the bottom right of the screen, it'll send some hearts up. So appreciate it. Good morning, Jim Christia. Morning, Brenda. Good morning, Nicole from New Jersey. All right. Well, let's get into it. So obviously, y'all can see the title of the question of the day is, what's your price? So, everyone's price is different. And I was thinking about this the other day, and everybody gets to their end result in a different way. And it might be, a growth issue. It might be an education or a skill issue, that kind of thing. But for some, I've seen some people come into the business and seemingly make a handful of phone calls and their business explodes. There's actually one person on our team who had personally sponsored like 2 or 3 people and then made one phone call. And that one phone call, by way of product sampling, as a result after that, who... and the person loved the product and said, man, I am in, I'm all in. And now that person's team has grown by thousands of people in the last, 6 months, something like that. And, some people I think would look at a situation like that and either have jealousy or think, well, why was it so easy for that person? Well, what we don't know about as a call us the population, about that person and his process is he paid the price years ago. So he developed credibility. He built his professionalism. He built his brand. He built his name. He built his character. He built his culture. And he built a basically to a level of respect that created the platform for that other person to be not only willing, but to want to listen to the person and to want to help him. And of course, the person I'm talking about is Jarrell Joyner, and you all know him. Assuming you're with the company, and obviously maybe we've got some folks with other companies out here. I don't know everybody that's on, obviously, but my point is, again, the journey is different for everyone, and because the journey is different for everyone, because we've all got different starting points. Ultimately, hopefully the ending point may even be the same, but even that's not the case. Your goal is different. Your destination is different. So the journey is going to be different. But when our starting point is different, it's different for everyone. So again, we've got folks that haven't paid any of the price yet. We've got folks that have paid part of it. We've got folks that have paid the majority of it. So again, whether it's growth, skills, whatever the case may be, I think it's important that we understand that whatever the price is, ours can only be paid by us. So that's kind of a key part of what I'm talking about here. Now, one of the things, though, is when it comes to paying our price, I've found that if we have a big why, and when I say that, I mean a why bigger than us, then this may not be the right word, but maybe it's easier to pay the price. Or maybe a more appropriate word is we're more willing to pay the price. It doesn't make it easier, but it in our minds, it makes us more amenable to the task. Paying the price is more acceptable. We're just willing to go out there and do it. So a big why basically makes the price worth it. So I hope that helps. And a small why, or maybe even more appropriately, the wrong why, maybe one that's not the right one for you, or not the right one for you to focus on, is going to make it not worth it. And unfortunately, a part of that is when frustration hits, it just takes you out of the game because your why's not big enough. You know, I love the story. Deion Sanders, I've used this story a number of times. And if you have not seen his acceptance speech when he was inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, I highly suggest watching it. I think it's about a 30-minute recording that you can find on YouTube. But if I remember right, it's somewhere around 10, 12, maybe 15 minutes in where he really gets into the meat of his story and his why. And everything he did, I don't want to ruin it for you, but everything he did was for his mother. You know, I think if he would have looked back and been doing things for himself and for his own success and his own reasons and his own ego and things like that, and the guy has a big ego. I don't think anybody, including him, would deny that. But he's earned the right to have that kind of bravado, basically, for lack of a better term. But the reason he did everything, and that's really the key, is he did everything because of his mother. Well, his mother, again, I'm not going to give you all the details, but his mother basically worked in a job that exposed her to a lot of wealthy friends that he went to school with, and they ridiculed her. How'd you like to have your mom ridiculed by your friends in school? He went to a wealthy school, but he didn't live in a wealthy neighborhood, and they weren't wealthy at all. But the ridicule that his mother received, he committed to the fact that his mother would never, ever, ever want for anything. And he was willing to do whatever it took to make sure that happened. So his dream, his why, was bigger than him. You know, and his quote from that, I put some quotes on all these. His quote was, "If your dream's not bigger than you, then there's something wrong with your dream." So having a big why is huge in terms of, again, us being willing to pay our price. That's a gigantic part of this. So, and part of that for me is making sure that I have a vision board and making sure it's in a place where I see it all the time. And it's right up on the mirror in my bathroom. I'm looking at that obviously at least twice a day, right? More than that, but I keep it in front of me. I'm glad we're going through this because I was just reminded of something I used to do, and I want to share this with you because I need to do this again. I need to put it in my car. I put on just a little square card, I typed up my primary goals and maybe my top 3 or 4 or something like that for the year. And just kind of honed in on them. So they were very, very specific. I mean, I had dates on them, very specific. I laminated the cards, and I keep them up on my visor. I used to. Why don't I do that anymore? That helped me get where I am. We've got to keep our vision, our dream, our goal, our objective in front of us. And doing that, every time I put the visor down, to block the sun, I was reminded of what I'm doing, why I'm going where I'm going, etc. So just a little piece of advice to you because hopefully it'll help you. It's helped me in the past. And I'm reminded of situations like this, conversations like this, when somebody gets started and they hit that frustration point and they're going, man, it's just so hard. It's so hard to do this. And nobody will listen or, whatever. They kind of get into the lack of belief. I don't know if I can do this kind of thing, And I'm reminded of the fact that, look, we need to have the big vision. We need to be willing to pay the price. But we always have to also remember that if it were easy, everybody would do it. And if it were easy and everybody did it, then it wouldn't be special. And we wouldn't have the opportunity to receive the special rewards that we do through network marketing, meaning time freedom, financial freedom, getting out of debt, having the things that other people aren't willing to work for. They're not willing to pay the price to get what you're willing to pay the price for. And I think that's very important. We all have to be willing to pay our price. I can tell you I've had many conversations with a bunch of different people, and I remember one time in particular, I was just kind of going through a tough time, and you know me, I just kind of share what's on my heart when we're talking on these things. And Logan and I were actually riding in the car, Logan Stout and I, and you know, and I just wasn't where I wanted to be. And that was clear to him, and I don't even remember what Logan's comment was, but he made a comment, and I realized that what I said was not positive, and maybe I was showing some impatience or whatever the case may be. And I remember I stopped myself, and I said no, I said, Logan, it's okay. I said, all that's going on here is I haven't paid my price yet, and I'm the only one that can pay my price. So I hope that kind of resonates with you, because you're the only one that can pay your price. You've got to be willing to do that. You got to be willing to pay your price. Well, you all know I always obviously close with a quote. And this is one, I researched this one quite a bit, because yesterday I had one and the author was unknown. And you know, I always like to give credit where credit's due. And I researched this one. A couple people, or actually an entity, was trying to take credit for this one. But the one that I found overwhelmingly in terms of who is getting credit for this quote, and I had no idea this is where it apparently originated, is Jerry Rice. And of course, you all know him. He used to play for the San Francisco 49ers. Amazing football player, amazing receiver. And but the quote is this: do today what others won't, so tomorrow you can do what others can't. So again, be willing to pay your price. And guys, it almost doesn't matter what your price is. You've got to pay it. Don't look back and regret and go, man, if I just would have X, if I just would have gone farther, if I would have made one more phone call, if I would have met with one more person, you know. Think of it also, you know, the Bill Brick quote, you know, and I don't remember the numbers, I don't have it in front of me, but, you know, I showed the plan to, was it 12 or 1,300 people, and, you know, a bunch said no, and only this many said yes, and only this many did anything at all. And then basically, I think it was 11 people made him a millionaire. 11 people, you know, but he had to pay the price to get to those 11 people and go through that process. And if he would have quit halfway through, or if we would have said, oh, I've done enough, I've paid enough of my price. No, the guy, he just kept going and going and going. And here's the value in that to me. It's not just what he became. Look at what he helped other people become, because he kept paying his price and setting the example and showed them that they need to pay their price. The lives that were changed in the process were hundreds and hundreds of thousands, probably over 1 million. I have no idea, but that's the key for us. Again, hey, let's all go out today and pay our price. Let's do whatever it takes to make sure that when we look back 1 or 2 or however many years from now, we go, man, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I paid my price, because I now have time freedom, financial freedom, etc. Because we can all have it. Okay? Don't let the day run you. Make sure you run the day. Take ownership of it. Let's go get the day. And hey, tomorrow, by the way, we're going to be talking a little bit about customer retention. I think that's an important thing. We're in a customer business, right? We're in a product business. So I'm excited about tomorrow. Look forward to hearing from y'all, seeing y'all out there. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow. Have an amazing day.